In today's video, we're diving into a story filled with teenage romance, heartbreak, and sweet revenge that'll have you on the edge of your seat. Join us as we unravel the tale of a high school romance gone wrong and the public humiliation that followed. Pretty amazing how a story can go from +20 to 0 upvotes within a matter of a couple hours. To all the folks who see fit to come in here and shit all over everything, I want to sincerely say, have a nice day. You bunch of pricks. So be forewarned, no one loses any jobs or money in this one. But it was one of my finer revenge moments, I think, so I'd love to share it with everyone. When I was a sophomore in HS, circa 2004 or so, I was dating a gal whom I had been with since 8th grade. As far as the relationship went, all was swell until summer of freshman year, when she came out and told me she made out with some random guy at a show she went to. This was understandably very upsetting, but being the overweight, insecure child that I was, I forgave her, and we continued onward. Fast forward a few months, we are seemingly happy, from what I could tell, and enjoying all the dumb shit you tend to do when you are 16 and in love. This was all to come very suddenly to an end one fateful day. A mutual friend, MF, approached me one day with some terrible news. The GF had been passing notes in band between herself and the MF, detailing how disenchanted she was with me, and detailing her affection and attempts to gain the attention of a kid in her band class. The MF was a true friend, and tried to convince her to just end it with me, as her current route would only cause everyone more pain in the long run. She more or less said she was scared to, and would rather just do her own thing, and run this ship into the rocks. MF saw this as a real douche baguette maneuver, pocketed the note, and found me between our next classes to let me in on what was happening. At first I was furious, as in seeing red and ready to smack a bish, but I've always been at least a little crafty, so I put the old brain pan to work. During my next class, GF texted me and said she was going to go to the Quiznos up the street from the school with MF, and asked if I wanted to join. I accepted the invite and made a beeline for the library as soon as my class let out for my lunch period. I made 50 copies of the note and started dropping them around the halls, handing some to her friends on my way out to my car. I kept about 5 of them, not including the original. The reason I chose this as my plan of action is because the night before I watched an episode of Malcolm in the Middle, and one of Dewey's lines had me rolling on the ground laughing. It was pure serendipity that the next day I find myself in this situation. I arrive and we go about placing our orders and eating. I'm having trouble acting normal at this point, and GF notices. "Is everything all right?" "Oh yeah, just fine. I'm just worried about a test coming up." Being a young fatty, I was going to finish my sandwich before I made my scene. You see, this Quiznos was usually cram-packed during the 3 lunch periods our HS had, and today was no different. Tables were full, and there was a sizable line to order. Once I finished my last bite, I leaned over, unzipped my backpack, took out a single sheet of sheet music that the note had been written on, and put it on the table while glaring at my GF. Oh man, her eyes got so fucking big. I'll never forget it. She immediately snatched it off the table and started tearing it up. I looked her dead in the eye and said the greatest line I have ever said in my life. "You think that's the only copy? What do you take me for?" "Thanks a million, Dewey." I, very loudly, told her that we are through, that she is a stupid slut with no backbone, and to never so much as look me in the eyes again. I made sure to announce that everyone will know what an untrustworthy, cheating bitch she was within 30 minutes. I gathered my things and left her sitting there in shock, with everyone in the store staring at her. When I started to pull away, she ran up to my window to try and talk to me. I just laughed, shook my head, and gave her the finger as I burned out in the parking lot, forcing her to jump back to avoid having her toes crushed. In retrospect, I felt exactly like this as I made my exit. We eventually ended up on speaking terms and neutral to each other the next year. The only other serious boyfriend she had was towards the end of senior year and beyond, who was extremely physically, emotionally abusive. She eventually got a restraining order against him and left his sorry ass, but not in what anyone would consider a sane or timely fashion. That wraps up today's tale of revenge. a raw look at how betrayal can lead to very public payback. Remember to handle heartbreak with care, and subscribe for more stories that remind us that while justice might be sweet, it often comes with a side of consequences.